Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Veronica again. And, well, it might seem pretty odd. Um, this camera is literally being held up by a Barbie doll, and I'm not going to prove it to you, but, that is just part of the theme of this video. It's going to be all about, Unisex Toys is basically the title of it. And this is going to be a really hard video to make. I hope I don't go off on something that's going to have me crying or anything like that. But what I want to talk about, and I did bring some show and tell, basically. The only thing I'm going to be showing in this video is going to be something that I've had since 1993, okay? And it's basically a yo-yo. It's blue and white. They called it a pro-yo. And you see those pretty little heart hologram things that I put in it? You have to hold it up to the light to see it. Basically, I actually made that myself. By the way, I made those little inserts. I cut them out of a notebook, or the cover of a notebook that I hadn't written in so long that it was turning yellow. So basically, I want to talk about the theme of unisex toys, okay, and how my actual childhood really sucked, okay? I've shown dolls on here before of the characters that I'm obsessed with or was obsessed with for so long, but what I don't really show on here, because I can't in most cases, are the actual toys that I had during my first dozen years of life. And the reason being is that I don't really have the vast majority of what I was given in my first dozen years of life. And among what survived my childhood, or lack thereof, I was very eager to get rid of it as soon as I could in the best way possible. And by that I mean garage sales and, selling it on eBay, which I am a Purple Star member. Always proud of things like that. Basically, I was eager to part with the things that survived my childhood in such a way that someone could still enjoy them, for the simple reason that I didn't have a happy childhood. Contrary to what both of my parents would like to believe, I had a downright miserable childhood. And the reason, well, it was a number of things that I really don't want to go into, because I'll start crying and or the video will be like, 30-40 minutes long, and I don't want that. But so I really don't have a lot from my actual childhood. And like I say, this little yo-yo here is kind of an exception, because it is a pro-yo, which was kind of like, every year in elementary school, this silly Duncan yo-yo guy would come by and try to get the kids to buy yo-yos. And there were basically three kinds. You had your ordinary Duncan yo-yo, which was just a simple $1 yo-yo that was the same for everybody if they bought it. Then you had your pro-yo, which was a step above that. And you had your fireball, which was either red or black, and supposedly the more expensive ones could do more. Well, I don't really know how to use one, so it doesn't really matter. But I can just, do it up and down. That's about it. But the reason I wanted to bring my pro-yo was because, I just couldn't force myself to part with it, because of the fact that I was so proud of it when I got it at age 10, and it showcases a time in my life which most people wouldn't understand it. They just look at it and say, oh, a nice pretty blue yo-yo. Well, what you don't understand about that blue yo-yo is that they came in several different colors, like pink, purple, green, etc. Okay, so blue was one of a few colors you could get. Well, I would have shat a brick with my name on it had I gotten any other color but blue. And the reason behind that has to do with the fact that age 10 was a very miserable time in my life, and this happens to be one of the few happy or positive things about that year of my life, my 11th year of life, so to speak. And no other color but blue would have been acceptable to me, you know. Unlike now, which, you know, I mean, right now, if I got any color, I'd probably be happy with it. You know, purple, green, it wouldn't matter. But at the time, I was obsessed with the color blue because I was obsessed with this idea that I should have been born male. And that I was just, that was around the time when I really started to come out with those kind of ideas. And like I say, I hope I don't, start crying, but I'll try to avoid things that would lead into that. But, it just was a time in my life when I was actually growing breasts, and, I just wanted everything that I could have in blue. It had always been my favorite color, but, my 11th year of life was just the time when that became, even more of an obsession with me, for the simple reason that it was like at a subconscious level, I wished that it could change my gender to male. And so I got this blue yo-yo, and I didn't make the little things for many years, but I did that because I didn't want it to be quite so masculine with simply the word pro-yo, the default that they all come with. But so yeah, it's just, kind of reminds me of a very miserable time in my life, just like the vast majority of my childhood. And just thinking about it kind of makes my nose run, just thinking about what I might want to say in this video. It just makes me want to cry, but of course, I'm not going to do that on YouTube. But so yeah, it's just, I mean, I didn't have a happy childhood, and I feel just so angry when I look back on my childhood and realize that when I was the right age to be playing with dolls, let's pretend for a moment that I never would have gotten another doll past my 12th or 13th birthday. Well, it wouldn't have mattered, because the last doll that I was actually given was a Ken doll that I got when I was 10, or my 10th birthday or something. And he was a boombox Ken that played music, but of course I don't have the boombox anymore. But when I was the right age to be playing dolls as a little girl, let's say 10 or younger, I did not have but 9 Barbie scale dolls. And at the time, I didn't really consider that unfortunate, because I didn't have any older sisters, and I didn't have any friends that were girls, which probably has a lot to do with why I was so butch or masculine or whatnot, because I didn't have a lot of gal pals to show me how to be a girl. And I basically didn't see it as unfortunate that I had 3 Kens, 3 Barbies, and I'm going to make a separate video about this Little Mermaid doll, which, it's not the original one I had, but it's a long story. This is the original one that I had on a different body. But, so I had an original Tycho Ariel doll the size of a Skipper doll, and then I had a 7-inch Todd doll, which is a brunette little boy, like Stacy, and then I had kind of a knockoff Stacy doll, a blonde kidcore little girl, to go with him, because my mom didn't want to buy me the more expensive Stacy doll, because she always had in the back of her mind, and then of course I had 3 Barbies, which none of them were bought by her. She always had in the back of her mind that she didn't like to buy me Barbie dolls and things like that, because she was afraid I would cut their hair, much like I did with this little fella here. I call him a fella, but he was originally Ariel. She was always afraid I would butch my dolls, so to speak, make them into boys or short-haired girls or whatnot, and that was a genuine fear. She had a reason to fear that, because I did. And so many of my dolls either didn't survive my childhood, or were given away or thrown away or sold or whatnot for various reasons. But she didn't like to buy me a lot of pretty long-haired dolls, just for that reason, because she didn't trust me with them. And as a result, like I said, I had 3 Kens, 3 Barbies, all given to me by other people other than my parents. And then I call them 3 kids, because Ariel was shorter than Barbie. And, the boy and the girl, so 9 basically. 9 Barbie scale dolls. But then my sister comes along, and she's almost 9 years my junior. Well, guess what? She had close to 40, 40 Barbie scale dolls. And by that I don't mean 40 dolls that were Barbie herself. I mean 40 1/6 dolls, whether they were a dollar store knockoff or a Ken doll or a child of Barbie, I don't really care. 40 dolls or characters that could be in Barbie's world, so to speak. Like in the Barbie dream house. Like she had a whole bookcase that was just nothing but Barbies and Barbie friends, so to speak. And it just makes me so angry. I can make myself cry, if I think about it. Like if I had to cry for a movie, I could just think about the fact that I was given 9 dolls as a little girl under 12 or whatnot. And then when my sister came along, she got about 40 total. And, then of the 9 that I had, she was wanting to take over a lot of the ones that were initially mine. Until I, eventually reclaimed them and, added to my collection. And then I got a Kelly and a Tommy, which that's a long story, when I was a little shy of 15. And then I got 2 additional Kid Core dolls, which I made the blonde one into Cody from the Rescuers. I might have to show him on here one day. And the brunette I called Penny from the Rescuers, because I was obsessed with that for a while. And I was like about, 16 when I did that? So she thought it was pretty ridiculous, needless to say. Just like being an adult obsessed with Rugrats and all that. But, so anyway. So it just makes me so angry when I think about how miserable my childhood was. Because I really didn't get a lot of female-specific toys. And at the time, like I say, I didn't care because I wanted to be a boy. I wanted blue things. I wanted unisex things. And I didn't see the problem with it, because I didn't really have examples of girly girls in my life, so to speak, to show me what I could have or should have been having. And at the time, it didn't make me miserable. But then, once I got older, and once I saw what my sister was getting and what I could have had in the 80s and early 90s, then I became very miserable about it. And then I became an adult collector with a chip on my shoulder because people think that adults shouldn't collect or play with dolls. And so, no, I didn't enjoy my childhood. No, I'm not just going to be grateful for what I had, because, a lot of what I did have is no longer with me for various reasons, or no longer in the same form that it was in at the time. It's changed over the years just to maintain it. But, it just makes me so angry, and this COVID-19 thing has got us quarantined inside, and it's like, I really have so much time to think about things that just make me downright depressed. And, my lack of dolls and lack of acceptance for being an adult that collects them, to try to make up for what I didn't have, that's really just got me down in the dumps. And while I don't want to cry on YouTube, I could say so much more about it. It's like if I wouldn't have acquired those 4 additional dolls in my adolescence, which I was given hell for even wanting, and my sister, on the other hand, was getting dozens of them a year, from friends, family, and everybody, simply because she was a long-haired girl who identified with long-haired dolls and wouldn't chop the hair off. It's just something that really kind of, I don't know, it's just hard to put it into words. But I feel so angry because my parents, they bought me all these unisex toys, which, like I say, I was happy at the time to get them. I sure didn't complain about them because probably that's what I wanted. But they bought me a lot of unisex type things, that were more learning toys, or, things that were just like what my boy cousins were getting. Things that could be enjoyed by either gender. And yet they wonder why I didn't freaking grow up to be a feminine, long-haired woman who liked guys and was proud to be a woman.